Ferrari's first race was a bit of a flop, with Leclerc failing to finish and Sainz missing out on the podium. Meanwhile, Red Bull looked untouchable and Aston Martin's Alonso swooped in for the third place. But hold on to your hats, folks. Word on the street is that Ferrari may have just stumbled upon a secret weapon for the upcoming Jeddah race. Who knows what kind of sorcery they've concocted to turn things around? Let's take a look. Ferrari's test driver Marc Genet has spilled the beans on a pesky issue that's been plaguing the team. Apparently, there's been some annoying bouncing going on and it's been causing a real headache for driver Carlos Sainz. Despite efforts to address the problem ahead of the 2023 F1 season, including new ride height rules, some cars are still experiencing this porpoising phenomenon. According to Genet, this bouncing business isn't like anything they've seen before, but it's still seriously irritating for the driver. Ferrari's been hit with a double whammy of issues at the Bahrain Grand Prix. Not only did they suffer from annoying bouncing, but they also had problems with tire degradation that caught them off guard. Test driver Marc Genet revealed that the team's experiences in pre-season testing didn't quite align with what they encountered on the track. Despite a strong showing with the soft compound, things fell apart when they switched to the hard compound. To add insult to injury, Charles Leclerc had to bow out due to mechanical problems, while Carlos Sainz finished in fourth place. Genet believes that Leclerc could have easily snagged a podium spot if things had gone their way. Talk about a disappointing day for the Ferrari team. Despite facing some serious challenges in Bahrain, Ferrari also made some seriously bold moves over the weekend. According to test driver Marc Genet, the team showed some serious cojones by deciding not to send Charles Leclerc out for a second run during Saturday's final qualifying segment. This daring move allowed them to save some precious tires for the race start. And let's not forget the double pit stop they pulled off, which allowed Leclerc to overtake Sergio Perez and pull ahead. Sure, the end result wasn't exactly what they hoped for, but Genet still thinks they made the right call up until the first pit stop. Despite getting left in the dust by Red Bull in Bahrain, Genet is feeling pretty optimistic about their chances at the upcoming Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. You see, the Jeddah street circuit has a whole different set of characteristics that might just play into Ferrari's hands. Could this mean they'll be able to close the gap on Red Bull? Only time will tell. But let's rewind a bit, shall we? The Bahrain Grand Prix was an absolute dream for Red Bull, who dominated the race from start to finish. Meanwhile, Ferrari had a bit of a nightmare with Charles Leclerc retiring due to a power unit issue and Carlos Sainz struggling with tire degradation and only managing to finish fourth. But don't count the Scuderia out just yet. There's always a chance for redemption in F1, and with Genet's positive outlook, we could be in for a thrilling race in Saudi Arabia. Genet is optimistic that Ferrari's lack of pace in Bahrain may not be indicative of their true potential for the season and believes that their top-end speed advantage could come into play at the upcoming Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Despite Leclerc and Sainz struggling to keep up with Red Bulls in Bahrain, Genet thinks that the Jeddah circuit's high-speed nature could play to Ferrari's strengths. In his opinion, the Scuderia's ability to defend against rivals on straights is an important factor that should not be overlooked. With the right setup and strategy, Ferrari could be in with a chance of challenging Red Bull at the next race. It could be quite track-dependent, Genet told the F1 Nation podcast. Another strong point for Ferrari is we are very fast on straights. You could see we managed to defend from Aston from Mercedes. In the past, Ferrari was very weak in that respect. For me, Jeddah is very important because it's a high-speed track. I think our cars should be very strong there. That's my personal feeling. In a strategic move during the qualifying session for Bahrain, Leclerc and Sainz decided to forego a second push lap in Q3, preserving their tires for race day. Despite qualifying third and fourth, respectively behind the two dominant Red Bulls, Ferrari ambassador Marc Genet suggested that Leclerc may have had the potential to vie for pole position had he pushed harder. This bold decision demonstrated Ferrari's tactical prowess and highlighted the team's ability to adapt to changing circumstances. In qualifying, we can beat Red Bull, said Genet. I'm quite sure even Charles could have gotten pole in Bahrain. But the tire degradation is unbelievable, and I'm sure today they were managing it. We know they're hard to beat, but it just started. It's only the first of the 23 Grand Prix in 2023, so there's still a long way to go. Max Verstappen, the winner of the season-opening Bahrain Grand Prix, has suggested that the upcoming Saudi Arabian Grand Prix in Jeddah could see the rest of the field close the gap to Red Bull. Verstappen dominated in Bahrain, leading teammate Sergio Perez to a 1-2 finish, prompting concerns among competitors about their prospects relative to the drinks-backed squad. Lewis Hamilton noted that Mercedes had a huge gap to the front, finishing 50 seconds behind the Red Bulls in fifth, while teammate George Russell even predicted that Red Bull could win every race in 2023. However, Verstappen downplayed such predictions, acknowledging that he did not expect to be so far ahead at every race this season. The different characteristics of the Jeddah Street Circuit could bring rivals into play, making the upcoming race unpredictable. Saudi is quite a different track to Bahrain, Verstappen told media, including RacingNews365.com. You have a lot more straights, fast corners, and a lot less degradation. I think here we were particularly good on the deg, so I do expect in terms of race pace that everyone is closer in Jeddah. Verstappen's triumph at the Bahrain Grand Prix was doubly sweet for the Dutchman, as it represented the first time he has won the opening race of an F1 season in his entire career. "Man, what a feeling," said Verstappen. "We've never had a start like this before, so it's amazing to be leading the championship from the get-go." After a 2022 season in which Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton claimed both titles, Verstappen and Red Bull's emphatic victory in Bahrain will give the team plenty of confidence heading into the rest of the campaign. But despite the dominant nature of their performance in the Desert Kingdom, Verstappen stressed that the team would not be resting on their laurels. "We know that there's a long way to go, and we need to keep pushing if we want to stay at the front," he said. Ferrari came into the 2023 Formula One season with high hopes of improving on their 2022 performance and becoming a serious challenger to Red Bull's dominance. But unfortunately, things haven't quite gone to plan. On the Race F1 podcast, Ed Straw, Scott Mitchell-Malm, and Ben Anderson discuss why Ferrari has started the season weaker than last year and what this means for the new team boss, Fred Vasseur. The trio also delve into whether the Bahrain Grand Prix was deceiving and if Ferrari's hopes of winning the championship are already out of reach. The podcast also takes a look at another legendary team, McLaren, and their disappointing start to the season, as well as Oscar Piastri's early days at the team. And let's not forget about Alpine. The team's start to the season is given a thorough analysis, particularly in the light of the unusual circumstances that may have skewed people's impressions of the team's competitiveness. Ralf Schumacher, former F1 driver, is deeply concerned about Ferrari's chances of winning the world title in 2023. Despite Ferrari's high hopes of challenging Red Bull this year, their performance in the opening race of the season was lackluster, leaving Schumacher with little faith in the team's ability to turn things around. He believes it may be too late for Ferrari to catch up and compete for the championship title. In the Bahrain Grand Prix, Red Bull clinched a dominant double victory, with Max Verstappen leading the way. Ferrari's Charles Leclerc had a tough race, retiring due to a technical issue, while Sergio Perez secured second place for Red Bull after battling with Leclerc. Aston Martin emerged as the second strongest team, leaving Ferrari in the shadows. Schumacher thinks this is a worrying sign for Ferrari's future in the season, predicting a relatively boring season with Red Bull out in front. He believes that it will take too long for Ferrari to close the gap unless Red Bull experiences technical issues. He also warns that Aston Martin's performance in Bahrain might not be representative of their performance in every race. Schumacher acknowledges that even a driver as experienced as Fernando Alonso cannot do everything with the car, and the team will have to compete against a formidable Red Bull. What are your thoughts? You think they can turn around in Jeddah and have a chance for the world title? Let us know in the comments below, and hit that like button and subscribe.